But of course, they led with, Paul because it's Philadelphia. And also, again, by the time he's going to be finished, it's going to be after 11 o'clock. They didn't want to put Paul out there at midnight. It still would have been good, but that wouldn't have been fair to him. And, a great history package, those old pictures. Oh, my God. Oh, was it ECW or WWE that aged him so horribly, do you think?
I think it was life.
It's just a question of life. But anyway, so Paul, that's the thing. You could tell by that the most of the video package that they did, he does nothing fake or eye winky. He's always who he's supposed to be. He only interacts with top main event talent. Everything he's involved in makes sense. He has a completely unique personality and delivery. And he never does or says anything that Paul Heyman wouldn't do or say on television. So, you can make the case that I talk about Gunther being a perfect wrestler, but you can make a case that Paul has taken care of himself. Because, at some point or another, every member of the talent roster has had to, for whatever purpose, do something really fucking stupid. Right? Who can you think of besides Paul that hasn't done something really stupid or phony or eye-rolly or whatever? I can't think of it.
There's certain things he's done that's made me roll my eyes. I can't say that.
Well, but not in a like, they're out there, he's scrambling for the 24/7 title, or you know what I'm saying.
No, he stays away from embarrassing shit, whether it's running TNA or being involved. There's very few people. For a little while, he's involved with like Ryback and unfortunately Kurt Hennig's son, who never had a good name. It was Michael McGillicuddy, then Curtis Axel. That was the only weird period where it was like, what are they doing with Heyman? Other than that, the people he's with has always been the right. He managed Sabu when Sabu was the indie darling. He managed, everyone at the right time, it seems like.
But anyway, he's a very, very smart fella. Visually repulsive, but a smart fella. Anyway, so Roman inducted him, talked about the inspirational things that Paul has taught him, and was very heartfelt in that. And he always knows what. I thought it was kind of, good Lord, there's a fucking sports car going by here. One of those goddamn hot rodders.
Oh, what if it's the fabulous ones?
I thought it was a vroom vroom. It was the Thrill Seekers. I thought that it was telling that Roman's.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that Roman says he always tells you what you need to hear. And sometimes it may have an element of what you want to hear, but he's a great motivator. But and he said he's a mensch. Brian, is that that's good, right?
That's like the ultimate compliment, yeah.
Well, there you go. I didn't know they had mensches in Samoa, though.
I think you could be a mensch anywhere. They just may call it something else.
Ah. Well, then Roman introduced him, and Paul waddled out proudly and hugged Dreamer and RVD and Bubba and Roman. And, of course, then gets away with cussing, but they're bleeping on Peacock. I thought that they could get away with a few things on the streaming, but apparently they even bleeped shit. But nevertheless, we finally saw members of his family. His kids were there. And when I've heard him talk about his children, I was thinking children, but didn't they look kind of college age, 18, 20, thereabouts, something like that? You're a better judge than I am.
Well, if you think about it, when he had kids, that was 20 years ago, give or take.
How time flies when you're not paying attention to other people's business. But anyway, they're fine and all grown up. She's attractive. He looks scared shitless, the young man. But I wonder,
you leave them alone. What is your problem?
Well, no, he looked like he was. His son looked like he was scared there, like he's got the perma grin on his face, like they're shooting me on camera. But she's attractive. I wonder if Paul should have a DNA test.
Will you
How
leave him
did
alone?
that-
We're
well,
talking about his Hall of Fame
Yes,
induction.
did a wonderful job. He should run for office. He put Triple H over. He put Stephanie over. He talked in a heartfelt manner to his children and gave them a pep talk about not giving up on their dreams. Referenced wishing that his mother and father were here to see it. Wished Dusty was here to see it. Said that directly to Cody. Somebody in the crowd yells, "We love you, Paul." And he says, "I love me too." And he stole a page from my book of philosophies, Brian, because he had an old cardboard box there, and he pulled out his leather coat and headset from ECW and his hat right out of that old box, and the people cheered, which proves that anything that comes out of a box gets over. And he did his ECW segment, and rah-rahed that, because it's Philly, and that's what that segment of the audience came to hear. And he said, if you think ECW died in bankruptcy court in 2001, you can suck my dick. I have a feeling even Paul might have asked if he could say, suck my dick. They bleeped it, of course, but I think he probably asked on that.
He should have done a Thunderbolt Patterson. You could suck my...
Oh, you could eat my... So
no, he was going to eat there.
Yes. Well, and then we could eat each other's. But anyway, Paul, in of course, in his own fashion, took credit for everything he's ever done. And then said when he was swimming in the ocean of obscurity, he was rescued to the island of relevancy by Roman Reigns. And did you notice when he closes his eyes, I've never seen this before, his eyelids are wrinkled. Did you see that?
No.
I've never seen a human. When he closed his eyes, his eyelids are wrinkled.
I can't even tell if you're fucking with him again or this is really an observation that you
real.
had.
It's a real observation. If you go back and look, Paul Heyman, when he closes his eyes, his eyelids are wrinkled. Anyway, so then he talked about the new stars and who got mentioned first, Braun Breaker and Rhea Ripley. He knows. You might see if he lives long enough, next year or two, you might see him with Braun Breaker, I bet you. And then he has that volume in his voice where he can turn that boomingness on. And I'm thinking it's kind of like, Aretha Franklin. The bigger she got, the more power she could get out of her lungs. So
it's nothing like that. And by the way, she had a very powerful voice when she was not as large as she would become.
As large and in charge, but no, can you think about it? You're talking about a Campbell's soup can, or you talking about a big old barrel drum? That barrel drum's going to have more resonance, and
depends what else is in the drum. If the drum is filled up with lard, for instance,
it looks like that drum is filled with lard, but anyway, he said, I'm blown up and I have to pee, and finished with, we're going to disrupt the industry all over again. And that was a 50-minute segment. How Paul, again, has the energy, and the state of his physical condition, I'm proud for him. That was a best speech that has ever been at the Hall of Fame, I think, and obviously what the people came to see.
Really good speech. For me personally, like some of the parts like about being canceled, that was kind of cringy and, I don't know.
Well, but he builds everything up he can read you the phone book, as they say, or he can, read mundane things, but in the dramatic manner that he builds everything. How do you think he's been able to talk all these people into doing all the stupid things they've done for him over the years?
Well, there's also a lot of stupid people.
Well, that helps, but no, you've still got to be good.
Well, what I was going to say before, you see, you drag me into what you do to him. Just what are you slandering him and
putting the guy over as the greatest talent in the goddamn business. Go ahead.
It was a good speech. He came out, he saw some of the old ECW guys. I saw a comment online that made me laugh. They said he patted down Tommy Dreamer. to make
Yeah.
sure. Because Tommy Dreamer previously said, Paul Heyman cost me everything. I was going to shoot him at WrestleMania.
Yeah. Well, when Tommy went through that period of cloudy thinking there, he was going to hop the rail at WrestleMania and shoot Paul and himself and make history. But I guess he changed his mind and he hugged him instead.
The biggest issue, I guess, Heyman's so smart. Thank God he went on first, because I don't even know if he would have been able to get the same energy if he had gone on after everyone else or any of the other people at all.
Yeah.
But starting the show with Heyman was a good idea.